So this is crazy. I keep feeling, did you lose somebody who was murdered? Who was that to you? Your what? Your son's father. So first of all, hold on. He's telling me I have to get off the stage and come down here with you. Because first of all, he was telling me that, it's all right. I'm going to come right here with you. So first of all, can I tell you that he's here? Can I take this drink? Is this urine? What the hell's in here? This looks like my pee test. What the hell is this? You hold this for her. I hope that that's cleanly. Please know that he's here because first of all, he tells me that, first of all, you talk to his soul every night. And first of all, he goes, Matt, he goes, I'm not even here to talk about the way that I died. He goes, I'm here to talk about her because she tried to save me in every single way here in this world. He tells me that he got involved with people that he shouldn't. He trusted people that he shouldn't. He says, and Matt, he says, do you know that literally every single day you go to bed angry, sad, and upset? Because he promised you that he was going to change. He says, and Matt, he says, I promised her the world. Do you understand that? It's okay. He tells me you have clothes of his, that there was some shirts that you kept. It was T-shirts to be exact, because he's showing those to me. And he says to me, Matt, do you know that she's had such a hard time sleeping and going to bed, even without wondering about me? He says, and more importantly, not feeling him by your side. When did he pass?
In July.
Okay. I knew it was a recent passing, because when I'm connecting with him, anytime that souls recently pass, it's like they get close to me and then they pull away. It's like I hear them and I don't. I hear them and I don't. And he says to me, Matt, she still feels like I don't send her signs. You keep telling me that you haven't gotten signs from him, you don't sense him, you don't feel him.
I haven't had a dream with him yet, and I'm waiting for that.
He's here today to let you know that, listen, he's still here. What's so crazy is that sometimes we think, right, that we don't get signs from our loved ones, like dreams or things, because they're not there and they're not with us. But sometimes what happens is that we actually block ourselves. We suffer so much. We go through so much heartache, so much pain, so many things that our loved ones can't reach us because we're battling with so much internally.
I'm mad at him.
I know you are. But hold on, let me finish what I have to say. Because I have to be honest with you. He says to me, Matt, he says, the one thing that I wish, he says, I wish that I was more responsible here in this world, he tells me. Because when I'm connecting with him, he actually tells me when I'm speaking to him that you gave him chance after chance after chance in your relationship. He says, and Matt, there was a time when I had separated from her, when we were separated, he goes, and I begged her to take me back. I begged her to come back and to love me. Is that true? And he tells me this. He says, the one thing that I should have listened to, he says, was all of her warnings.
Yes. I would have dreams about him, that something would happen, and I would tell him, don't do this, don't go there, don't do it. And he wouldn't listen.
This is such a hard reading to do because when I'm connecting with him, there was so much that he wasn't telling you. There was so many things that he was hiding from you. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be honest with you, he was involved with some very shady characters here in this world. He was involved with people who did drugs here in the physical world, who sold drugs here in this world. And I keep seeing okay. I don't know how much you know. This is actually weird. He actually just showed me text messages being handed over to the police. So did his phone get turned over to police?
Yes.
And they found things? Because I keep seeing that there was also a fentanyl ring that was here.
Oh my God. That's why I'm mad at him. That's why I'm mad at him.
I know. He keeps whispering fentanyl.
That's why I'm mad at him. I'm sad. I'm hurt. But I'm mad at him because of that.
And
we have a son.
You have every right to be. And he says to me, Matt, he goes, I'm going to tell her one thing. What the hell am I got? I got all wires sticking out of me. He says to me, Matt, I'm going to tell her one thing. He says, I want to let her know that on the other side, he says, not only am I here watching over her, he says, but I know what I did wrong. He says, but I got to tell her something. He goes, I'm not here to make excuses. But what I am here to tell her is that I had every opportunity to leave these people and to get them out of my life. But I considered them like brothers, he says to me. I considered them family. Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as much as he would try to get away, he always got dragged back in.
Mm-hmm.
He says, but the one thing that he needs you to know is this. He talks about you supposed to be getting married here in the physical. So did you talk about getting married?
Me and him, yeah.
Okay. And it's so tough because he tells me, literally, you were saying in your head, like, we were supposed to get married. We were supposed to do all these things. And instead, I'm planning a funeral. He says to me that, first of all, he goes, I know how much you loved me. He says, but Matt, he goes, there was this inner punk within me that I couldn't get away from, he tells me. Because I got to be honest with you. When he was younger, up until his passing, he tells me that he always used to get himself into trouble here in this world. And he even shows me like him getting kicked out of school when I'm connecting with him, and he couldn't finish school, and he showed me all this bullshit that his mother had to go through, and I literally see his poor mother, oh, she's no bigger than a pint of piss, because he showed me his mother like praying for him, like all the time saying like, God, how am I going to deal with my son? He's driving me crazy. He's getting in trouble with the police. He's doing this. He's doing that. Do you understand that? Know that one of the things is that he says to me this. He says, Matt, please let her know that she gave me every warning. Please tell her that you warned him, you protected him, you did your part. He says, all I had to do was one thing. All I had to do was listen to you. He says, but Matt, I was thick and I was stubborn and I was hard-headed, and that's why we fought, he tells me. Because every time the two of you used to fight here in this world, instead of manning up and coming to you and working out the problems, he would walk away and pretend like nothing had happened.
Yes, that was him.
He says to me, Matt, there's nothing I can do but to ask her for forgiveness. Because he talks about that son that you have here in this world. And he's telling me this. He says, Matt, the hardest thing is that you have to raise him all alone. And every day, you think about what would he have done? What would he have done if he was here? How would life been different for his son? He says to me, Matt, please thank her for the way that she has kept our son knowing me, loving me, and always reminding him that Daddy's there and with him. Do you understand that? He says to me, Matt, there's a lot of things I would change in my life, but I wouldn't change one thing. I would never change having her, he says, as my child's mother. So listen, I got to be honest with you. I am so glad that you're here today, because he said to me that you almost weren't going to come?
Yeah, sure. They brought me.
Oh, so you kidnapped her and brought her?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, by the way. See? So he says to me, she wasn't even supposed to be here. She wasn't going to come. That's what he keeps telling me. Mm-hmm. But he says to me, Matt, I got to tell her something. He says, every day she has been having such a hard time, even thinking about herself, because you're so worried about your son and grieving for your son. He says, Matt, I got to be honest with you. He says, I was not involved in his life the way that I should have been here, because I let all these other people control my life. He says, so at the end of the day, I'm going to be very honest with you. And this is the hardest thing I have to say, and I really don't want to say it, but I'm going to tell you what he tells me. He goes, Matt, my son's not missing anything, he tells me.
He's not. And that's the thing. That's so true. So true.
And that's the hardest thing. You're going to bring me to tears now. Now that I'm a father, I'm freaking emotional all the time. It's like I'm on my period. Oh, God, look, I'm getting teary-eyed myself. I don't normally get teary-eyed.
He was in and out of jail, so my son kind of tells me now, like, I'm used to my father not being here. He's hurt. My son is hurt, but he's used to his father being in and out, in and out. It's just now he's not coming back anymore, and that's just hurtful.
But know that this is his way of letting you know one thing. He says, Matt, this is the truth. He never needed me. He needed you. So know that as hard as this was for you, your son isn't suffering the same way that you are. So I want you to know that, because I know that you're so protective over him because his father tells me. Mm-hmm. But today, he's here for you. Because listen, what I'm going to tell you tonight, there's no way I can heal what you're going through. That's the one superpower that I wish that I had. But I need you to know that he does love you, because you came here with one question. And that question is that you had in your heart is, how come he didn't love me? Did he love me? Was his feelings true? And if so, why didn't he change? He says to me, Matt, please let her know that I did love her. I just kept getting dragged in, because he's acknowledging that. So listen, he says, I want to let you know that on the other side, he says, not only am I here, he says, but I've had to answer for all the actions that I did. And one of those things was hurting you. And he says to me, Matt, I'm here for one reason. He says, I am here to ask her for her forgiveness. Doesn't have to be today. But please know, he says, after you go through your healing process, he says, please know that I am there waiting. And when the time is right, he says, I will hope that you forgive me. All right, give her a round of applause. I'm so happy you did come today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.